The night air in Moscow carried a certain electricity, the kind that only boxing can summon. Beneath the bright, unforgiving lights, the ring stood as both a stage and a battlefield, waiting for two men whose journeys had carved them into fighters of purpose. The crowd murmured with anticipation, a low, restless hum echoing through the arena. This wasn't just another bout, it was a collision of ambition and redemption. On one side stood Samuel Carmona, a man who had walked the highest paths of the sport, tasted the bitterness of a world title challenge, and carried the lingering belief that destiny had once been denied to him. On the other side, the rising force, Artur Nagapetyan, young, relentless, undefeated in spirit if not on paper, eager to prove that hunger could overpower experience. Flags waved, voices rose, and the tension thickened as the announcer's voice pierced through the noise. This was for the IBA Pro European Flyweight Championship. 8 rounds, no room for hesitation. The Spanish anthem echoed first, a reminder of Carmona's long road from Gran Canaria to the world stage. Then came the Russian anthem, swelling with pride, as the hometown fighter prepared to defend his territory. Two fighters, equal in height, separated only by experience, style, and the fire within. As the referee called them to the center, instructions were given, gloves were raised, and for a brief moment, silence fell. Then the bell rang, and everything changed. From the opening seconds of round 1, the contrast in styles became unmistakably clear. Nagapetyan surged forward like a storm barely contained, his feet quick, his hands already searching for openings, determined to impose his will through sheer pressure. He was a volume puncher, a man who believed in overwhelming his opponent with activity, never allowing space, never allowing breath. Carmona, in contrast, moved with the calm precision of a seasoned craftsman. He circled, measured, and waited, his eyes locked onto Nagapetyan's rhythm, studying every step, every shift in stance. Where Nagapetyan brought chaos, Carmona brought calculation. The Russian fighter closed distance aggressively, switching stances as he pressed inside, trying to disrupt Carmona's timing. But the Spaniard remained composed, slipping shots, catching punches on gloves and elbows, and responding with sharp, precise counters. A clean right hand from Carmona snapped Nagapetyan's head back briefly, a reminder that aggression alone wouldn't dictate the fight. The crowd reacted instantly, their cheers rising with every exchange. It was fast, technical, and already intense. Neither man showed hesitation. Nagapetyan kept coming, undeterred, while Carmona quietly began building his case, one clean counter at a time. By the end of the round, it was clear this would not be an easy night for either fighter. As round 2 unfolded, the tempo intensified, and the battle lines were drawn even deeper. Nagapetyan continued to march forward, his strategy unchanged, constant pressure, relentless output, and a refusal to give Carmona room to breathe. But Carmona wasn't retreating aimlessly. He was setting traps. Each step backward was calculated, each movement designed to lure Nagapetyan into vulnerable positions. And when those moments came, Carmona struck. Sharp counters pierced through the Russian's offense, right hands, sneaky uppercuts, and well-timed body shots that began to chip away at Nagapetyan's momentum. Yet, what made the contest compelling was Carmona's willingness to engage. He wasn't simply boxing from a distance. He stood his ground when necessary, exchanging on the inside with confidence. The crowd could sense the tension building, two fighters refusing to yield. The question began to emerge. How would the judges interpret this? Would they favor Nagapetyan's aggression, his constant forward motion and volume, even if many shots were blocked? Or would Carmona's precision, his clean, effective punching, carry more weight? The dynamic remained uncertain. A late exchange near the bell saw both men land telling shots, neither backing down. It was a chess match played at full speed, with each fighter testing the limits of the other. 2 rounds in, and the fight was already shaping into a classic clash of styles. By the 3rd round, the physical toll of the fight began to show. Abrasions marked the faces of both men, subtle signs of the relentless exchanges that had already taken place. But beyond the visible damage, there was a deeper story unfolding, one rooted in resilience and transformation. Carmona, the former Olympian, carried with him a past that could have derailed his future. Once on the brink of being pushed away from boxing entirely, it was the sport itself that became his salvation. And now, under the bright lights, He fought not just for a title, but for validation of that journey. Inside the ring, he continued to demonstrate his experience. His counters grew sharper, his confidence more evident. A wicked right hand landed cleanly, followed by a crisp combination that forced Nagapetyan to reset momentarily. Yet the Russian refused to be discouraged. He kept pressing, his determination unwavering, his belief in his style unshaken. But there was a flaw beginning to surface. His head movement remained limited, leaving him vulnerable to Carmona's precise counters. Each time he entered, he risked being caught, and Carmona was capitalizing. The exchanges grew fiercer, the stakes higher. By the end of the round, it was clear that while Nagapetyan brought the fight, Carmona was beginning to control it. Round 4 marked a turning point, a moment where experience began to assert dominance over youthful aggression. Nagapetyan, still pushing forward, found himself struggling to break through Carmona's defenses. The Spaniard's composure was unwavering, his ability to read the fight now fully on display. He slipped shots, countered effectively, and began targeting the body with precision. Each punch to the midsection wasn't just scoring, it was strategic, aimed at draining the energy of a fighter who relied heavily on constant movement and pressure. Carmona's corner grew more animated, sensing the shift in momentum. Meanwhile, Nagapetyan's face told a different story. Marked, tested, but still defiant, he managed to land moments of success, including a clean uppercut, but they were fleeting. Carmona responded each time with sharper, more effective combinations. The crowd could feel the tide turning. This wasn't just a fight anymore, it was a lesson unfolding in real time. Carmona was showing what it meant to be a seasoned operator, a fighter who understood not just how to throw punches, but when and why. As the round came to a close, the gap between aggression and effectiveness became more apparent. The 5th round carried a different energy, one shaped by the contrasting emotions in each corner. Carmona appeared confident, even relaxed, a faint smile crossing his face as he returned to the ring. Nagapetyan, on the other hand, showed signs of wear, blood on his face, the accumulation of damage beginning to weigh on him, yet his spirit remained intact. He continued to press forward, refusing to abandon his strategy, but Carmona had adapted fully. He pivoted on the inside, countering Nagapetyan's movements with increasing ease. His body work intensified, digging shots into the ribs and liver, methodically breaking down his opponent. It was a calculated dismantling, one punch at a time. Still, Nagapetyan's aggression kept him in the fight. Judges often reward forward movement, and he ensured that he remained the initiator. But the effectiveness told a different story. Carmona's punches were cleaner, more precise, and more damaging. The narrative of the fight was becoming clearer. Experience versus pressure, precision versus volume, and slowly, steadily, precision was winning. As the fight entered the 6th round, the urgency began to rise. Nagapetyan attempted adjustments, switching stances more frequently, trying to disrupt Carmona's rhythm. For a brief moment, it worked. A sharp counter right hand caught Carmona, drawing a reaction from the crowd. There was a glimpse of what Nagapetyan was capable of, but Carmona responded like a veteran. He regrouped instantly, launching a controlled offensive that pushed Nagapetyan back toward the ropes. It was a rare moment where the aggressor became the defender. Carmona unleashed combinations, mixing head and body shots, asserting control once again. The possibility of a knockout began to linger in the air, not because it was imminent, but because Carmona's confidence suggested he might pursue it. Having experienced controversial decisions in the past, he seemed determined to leave no doubt. The crowd sensed it too. Every punch carried weight, every exchange felt significant. With only a few rounds remaining, the fight was reaching its climax. Round 7 brought drama, tension, and a glimpse of vulnerability. Nagapetyan showed signs of resurgence, making Carmona miss more frequently, attempting to shift the momentum. For a moment, it seemed like the tide might turn. But then came a controversial low blow, one that forced a pause in the action. Nagapetyan took his time to recover, the crowd buzzing with anticipation. When the fight resumed, Carmona wasted no time reasserting control. He launched a series of punishing body shots, followed by sharp counters that appeared to stagger Nagapetyan. The Russian fighter held on, trying to weather the storm. Carmona's corner erupted, sensing that their fighter was close to breaking through. It was a defining sequence. a moment where Carmona demonstrated not just skill, but composure under pressure. He didn't panic, he capitalized, and in doing so he may have sealed the fight. The final round arrived with everything on the line. Nagapetyan, aware that he might be behind, pushed forward with renewed urgency. He threw punches in volume, trying to overwhelm Carmona one last time. But Carmona remained disciplined. He countered beautifully, landing clean shots that halted Nagapetyan's advances. A perfectly timed left hand stood out, a moment of brilliance that encapsulated his performance. Both fighters switched stances, exchanged combinations, and gave everything they had left. The crowd roared, appreciating the effort, the heart, the skill on display. But beneath the chaos, the story remained consistent. Carmona was the more effective fighter. As the final seconds ticked away, it became clear this was his night. When the final bell rang, both men stood exhausted, marked by battle, but united in respect. The judges' scorecards were read. Clear, decisive, unanimous decision. Samuel Carmona. In that moment, the journey came full circle. From controversy and doubt to triumph and validation, Carmona had reclaimed his narrative. He stood as the new IBA Pro European Flyweight champion, a testament to perseverance, skill, and belief. For Nagapetyan, it was a lesson, a moment of growth and a promising career. For Carmona, it was redemption, and for the crowd, it was a fight they would not soon forget.